Part 1: The Ideal Beginning. People used to call us the perfect couple. I never let those words get to my head, but deep down, I felt proud, like we'd cracked some secret code to love and harmony. Her name is Leah, and she came into my life like spring after a brutal winter, warm, soft, and full of color. I still remember the first time we met at a small cafe downtown. She had a book in one hand and a coffee in the other, her hair tied up in a messy bun. She looked up, caught me staring, and instead of turning away, she smiled. That was it. That smile was the beginning of everything. Leah and I were just effortless. We talked for hours like we'd known each other in a past life. She loved art, I loved photography. She cooked with passion, I cleaned with precision. She was impulsive, I was calculated. Somehow, our contradictions met in the middle and made sense. We traveled, danced in hotel rooms, read poetry to each other under blankets, and laughed until our cheeks hurt. Every friend we had envied our connection. "You two are like something out of a movie," they'd say. Maybe we were. The decision to start a family came naturally. There wasn't a dramatic moment or an ultimatum. One night, after dinner, Leah laid her head on my chest and whispered, "Do you ever wonder what our little one would look like?" I smiled, wrapped my arm around her, and said, "Every day." From then on, it was joy, planning, and Pinterest boards. We painted the spare room a soft gray blue. She picked the crib. I built it. We read baby books and took long walks, talking about who our child might become. We even named our baby before she was born Mira. It felt right. A star in our little universe. Lee's pregnancy was a beautiful storm. She glowed and snapped, laughed and cried. I made late-night donut runs and listened to her sing to Mira through her belly. I loved her more with each passing day. Watching her transform into a mother filled me with awe I couldn't explain. Then came the day. Mira arrived on a cloudy afternoon in late September, under the sound of gentle rain tapping against the hospital window. Leah was a warrior. I held her hand through every contraction, whispered strength into her ear, and when Mira finally cried, so tiny, so real, I broke down. I didn't even try to hide it. Holding our daughter in my arms for the first time was surreal. Her fingers were smaller than matchsticks, her breath the softest sound I'd ever heard. Leah looked at me, exhausted and glowing, and said, "We made her." I kissed her forehead and whispered, "You made us." The first few weeks were chaotic bliss. Diapers, midnight feeds, swaddles, and lullabies. We were tired but in love with Mira, and with each other, or at least, that's what I wanted to believe. But as the days blurred into nights and nights into survival mode, things started to shift. Not all at once. Like a silent draft creeping in through a cracked window, subtle and cold. Leah stopped laughing as often. She was always tired, more than tired. She barely looked at me anymore when I kissed her goodbye before work. She stopped singing. Our conversations changed from "Where should we go this weekend?" to "Did you sterilize the bottles?" And she hasn't napped yet. We no longer lay on the couch together. We lay apart, her with Mira, me with silence. And though I understood we were new parents, after all, I couldn't ignore the growing distance. I tried to brush it off. This is just a phase, I told myself. It'll get better. But sometimes, when I watched her from the doorway as she rocked Mira to sleep, her eyes hollow and shoulders slumped, I felt like a stranger in my own life. I missed her laugh. I missed her touch. I missed us. Still, I stayed quiet. Because how could I complain? We had a beautiful daughter, a roof over our heads, and a story people envied. Who was I to question it all? But in the quiet spaces between feedings and chores, when I lay awake listening to Lee's soft snores and Mira's rustling, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: loneliness. And it scared me more than I was willing to admit. Part 2: The Strain of Parenthood. There's something no one tells you about becoming a parent, how quietly it can unravel you. Not in an explosive, catastrophic way, but in quiet, invisible threads. One tug at a time. That's how it started with us. At first, I chalked it up to exhaustion. Mira had colic for the first 3 months. She cried for hours every night. Leah, already recovering from the birth, barely slept. Neither did I. But the difference was she couldn't step away. She was always there, nursing, rocking, shushing, bouncing. I tried to help, but sometimes she looked at me like my presence only made things harder. We stopped touching each other. Not out of anger, but out of necessity. There was always a baby between us, physically, emotionally. The woman who used to grab my hand under the dinner table or kiss me in the middle of conversations now walked past me like I was furniture. I missed her. I'd come home from work and find her in the same clothes as the day before, hair tangled, bags under her eyes. She'd hand me Mira wordlessly and disappear into the bathroom. No hello. No kiss. No eye contact. The silence between us became a third presence in the house, louder than the baby's crying, more persistent than sleep deprivation. I wanted to talk to her. God, I did. But every time I opened my mouth, I stopped myself. What was I supposed to say? I feel invisible? I miss being your husband and not just Mira's father? One night, I tried. I feel like I don't know you anymore, I said quietly as she folded laundry. She didn't even look up. I don't know myself either. It hit me harder than I expected. Leah was changing, and I didn't know how to help her. Or if she even wanted me to. I started staying longer at work. Not out of resentment, but because I felt more useful there. More. Me. At least in the office, people listened when I spoke. They saw me. At home, I was either holding Mira, washing bottles, or walking on eggshells trying not to upset a woman who used to be my best friend. Our conversations were now lists. What we needed from the store. When Mira's next pediatrician appointment was. When the bills were due. Intimacy was gone. Not just sex. Touch. Connection. We stopped checking in with each other. I'd lie next to her at night, both of us turned away, the glow of the baby monitor between us like a barrier neither one of us had the strength to cross. She didn't smile at me anymore. And I started resenting how easy she made it look to prioritize Mira over everything, even us. But the truth is, I resented myself more. Because deep down, I wondered if maybe I wasn't strong enough for this. Maybe I wasn't the father or partner I thought I could be. Maybe I was selfish for missing the woman I married when we now had a daughter who needed us more. I tried to reconnect. Planned a date night once. My sister offered to babysit. I told Leah about it over dinner. She didn't even respond. Later that night, when I brought it up again, she said, "I don't want to leave Mira with anyone." Not yet. I nodded, even though disappointment was clawing at my throat. It was the first time in our relationship I felt truly alone. Her world now revolved around Mira. Mine felt like it was shrinking. I started avoiding home. Took longer drives. Stayed at work after hours. Sometimes I told myself I was giving her space. Other times, I just didn't want to go back to a place where I felt like a ghost in my own life. Financial stress didn't help either. Diapers, formula, medical bills. I picked up freelance gigs. Came home more drained than ever. Leah tried to pick up part-time work from home, but it only added to her stress. She'd break down over the smallest things: burned food, a missed nap, a bad night's sleep. We began snapping at each other. I can't do everything. She yelled once after I asked her why Mira didn't have clean bottles. I'm not asking you to do everything. I snapped back. But I'm working 10-hour days, Leah. I'm drowning too. She burst into tears. And for the first time, I didn't comfort her. I just stared, silent and cold. That scared me more than anything. The fighting didn't stop. It escalated. Sometimes we screamed. Other times we didn't speak at all for days. Mira became our buffer, our only shared project, our only common language. I could see her slipping away. I could feel myself slipping too. One night, after Mira finally went down and the house was quiet, I asked her, "Are we okay?" She looked at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. "I don't know," she said. She turned off the lamp and went to bed. I sat in the dark for a long time after that, wondering when exactly we'd stopped being lovers. When we stopped being teammates. When I became a stranger in my own home. Maybe it was the night we brought Mira home. Maybe it was long before that. All I knew was, the woman I loved was now a memory I couldn't touch. And the life we'd built, this perfect, beautiful life, was starting to feel like something I didn't recognize anymore. Part 3: The Crossroads and Resolution. I wish I could say we hit rock bottom and bounced back. But that's not how it went. We hit rock bottom and stayed there, quietly, awkwardly, with the same shared toothbrush holder and the same cold bed. The days were routine. The love was mechanical. I kissed her cheek out of habit. She said thanks when I did the dishes. We existed. But we didn't live. And then came the breaking point. A Tuesday night, nothing special. Mira was teething. Screaming. Again. I tried to soothe her, rocking her in my arms while pacing the hallway. Leah came out of the bedroom, her eyes puffy and her voice tired. "You're doing it wrong," she said. I stopped mid-step. "She won't settle. You're holding her too tightly. You're making it worse. I've been trying for 20 minutes. "Well, try harder," she snapped. Something snapped in me, too. "I'm not a damn magician, Leah," I hissed. "I'm doing the best I can." Her face crumpled. "So am I," she whispered. "But you don't see it. You don't see me anymore." We stared at each other, me, with a red-faced, wailing baby in my arms, and her, with tears welling up in her exhausted eyes. Mira's cries became background noise to something louder, our silence finally breaking. "I miss you," I said, voice cracking. She didn't respond. "Leah," I whispered, "we used to be so good. What happened to us?" She wiped a tear from her cheek. "We forgot how to be us." That night, after Mira finally drifted off, we sat on the floor in the living room, no TV, no phones, no distractions. Just two people who had lost each other in the fog of responsibility. She told me everything she'd been holding in. "I feel like I gave birth to a child and lost myself at the same time," she said. "I don't know who I am without Mira clinging to me. I'm tired, overwhelmed, and terrified that if I let go, they'll fail her. And you. I know you're trying. But sometimes it feels like you gave up on me. On us." I was quiet. Because she was right. I opened up too. I felt like I had to be the strong one, I said. The provider. The problem solver. But inside, I was drowning. I didn't know how to reach you. And when I did try, I felt like there was no space left in your heart for me. We talked for hours. Cried. Whispered. Apologized. And for the first time in months, I touched her hand and she didn't pull away. She gripped it like a lifeline. We agreed on one thing: we wanted to find our way back. It wasn't magic. There was no overnight fix. But we made a plan, not a grand one, just small promises. One night a week, we'd sit together, just us. No baby talk, no chores, no stress. Just us. We'd take turns sleeping in on weekends. We asked for help from her mom, from my sister, from anyone who offered. And slowly, we began to breathe again. I started noticing her again. The way she hummed while cooking. The way she still tucked her hair behind her ear when she was nervous. The way her eyes crinkled when she smiled at Mira. And she noticed me. How I still left her little notes in her coffee mug. How I kissed Mira's forehead like it was sacred. How I still looked at her like she was the girl from the cafe, book in hand, coffee half full, eyes full of light. One morning, as I watched her rock Mira to sleep, she looked up at me. "I think I'm coming back," she said softly. I walked over and kissed her, really kissed her, for the first time in what felt like forever. So am I whispered. Parenthood didn't ruin us. It tested us. It broke down every illusion of ease and forced us to rebuild with intention. It showed us who we really were when sleep deprived, anxious, overwhelmed, and how deep our love could still run beneath all that. We weren't the perfect couple anymore. We were something better. Real. Battle tested. Still standing. Still in love. Thank you for watching. If you've ever experienced something like this, we'd love to hear from you. Have you faced a moment in your relationship when everything changed after becoming parents? Share your story in the comments, your words might help someone else feel less alone. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss more stories like this one.